Alright everyone, welcome back. Today we're going over all of the builds for Plaguestar, which is why we're staying here next to the, I'd say lovely, but she fugly, and she's a child. And the heck is she wearing? Are those like band-aids everywhere? Yeah, just wear the mask over your face. That'll be easier. That'll be easier for all of us. Let's kick it off with what we're using and what you need for Plaguestar. This is one of the best builds you can have for Plaguestar, and I'll get into that in just a moment. But Plaguestar, Stage 1, you sprint down a hole as fast as you can, grab the toxin in the back, and get out of there. Part 2, stick the toxin in a box and shake it all up, get the doctor to add the lime, get that tonic going, and you're there for like 3 minutes. It takes forever, it's stupid. And it's just a defense mission. We'll cover how to choose that in a moment. Pretty much you just shoot the dropships and then don't worry about it. Stage 3. Take the toxin that's all shaken up and you force it down the drone's throat. You feed the drone that toxin and then you give it a slap on the butt and it starts running. You follow that drone to the boil, and it poisons the boil, and then the boil spawns the 4 bosses, my bad. 4 bosses and a whole host of infested. They pretty easy, but you do have to bring a special kind of DPS for that. The boss is something known as the Hemocyte. It's got a weird armor and health combination that ultimately means the best damage to take against the boss is corrosive. Now, it also means the best thing against the boss is almost always secondaries or art guns. Super weird, but since this is part 1, we are taking a new player approach. So we're going to save the art guns for part 2. And on the new player side of things, you're not going to have access to the Kuva weapons. That's my assumption. What you're wanting, and I've been working on Baza Prime, it's not a great thing. What you're wanting is something with a lot of fire rate, a solid amount of base damage, but not a colossal amount. Like bows and sniper rifles, they're actually really bad, because the Hemocyte is damage capped, meaning each shot can only deal so much damage. Yeah, kinda sucks. Buzzlock is alright. Really, the Gorgons, the real full auto monsters, are the best. Do not get the Karax. No. Don't do it. Don't do it. Not these. Prisma Gorgon. If you only have the Gorgon or the Gorgon Wraith, it's not nearly as good. It's not nearly as good. If you're down that low and really strapped, you can go with the Rubico Prime. Make sure it's more of an Eidolon Hunter's build with a lot of fire rate. And remember to build corrosive, because that's what the boss is weak to. Nope. Nope. Soma Prime, it's alright. Strad Prime, again alright. Super Vandal, alright. None of these are really shining stars, but I'm just giving you guys the alternatives. Again, you don't really want to take a primary to this fight, but as you're seeing, they're kind of all hit scan, or pretty close to hit scan. Tib Prime, Tenora, I've used the Tib Prime. I would much rather take a secondary. They're just better in this role. Baza Prime, I've been trying it. I'm a couple form in. It's not cutting it. It really isn't. Tiburon Prime, with the Tenor being the backup, but really the Prisma Gorgon. That's what you want in the primaries. In the secondaries, again, not gonna have access to Kuva weapons. The Twin Stubbers are good. Akjags, they alright. Not great in this role. Axomati and Axomati Prime, they'll do damage. Don't get me wrong, they'll do damage, but they're not as good as they could be. Archiplasmor, it's alright. I think it tickles the cap for damage-wise. So, I elected not to use it. Back when ribbons were good for this thing, people did some crazy things. Arca Cisco. Alright, again, not ideal. You'll notice I'm not mentioning any beam weapons. You can use beam weapons, but because of their relatively short range, relatively low crit, and really high amount of status, I'm not recommending them. Because the boss isn't affected by status. That's not going to get it done. That's not what you want. You want high fire rate and just a lot. You want crit. You want a high fire rate, critty, automatic machine pistol. Which is where this comes in. There is no substitute. Well, there are a couple of competitors, but there's no real substitute to this build. Rattleguts with Splat and Haymaker. A lot of crit multiplier, and a solid amount of base damage. Reload's pretty quick, magazine ain't bad. It's a good weapon. It's exactly where you need to be. This is just enough in everything. Something else that's just enough in everything? Piranha Prime. Oh yeah. When you can proc the Ghost Pistol, when you can get that, this thing, if you could always proc the Ghost Pistol with 100% reliability, it would probably be better than a Rattleguts. In fact, I'm very confident it would be. Piranha Prime is number 2. You'll see it's got a lot of base damage. It has a great fire rate, good crit, alright reload, but it could be better. It could be the Rattleguts, but Piranha Prime, I mean, to those who have this, no, this thing is frickin' amazing. I love this thing. I've tried the Prisma Twin Gremlins. You really want hit scan. The Hemocyte moves a lot, you're moving a lot. Hit scan just is so much nicer. They do work, they will eventually get it done, but they're not super quick. Secure Dual Sestra. Look at those crit starts. This is not good. I did see someone use a Spectra Vandal. It'll ultimately kill it. It's not great. Staticore, as much as I love you, and you are corrosive and rad, look at the stats again. It's heavily weighted into status, not crit. Twin Grakatas. Yes. These things, these monsters, they do very well. Problem is you're going to run out of ammo for it several times. Twin Comac, also, it's alright. It's not great. I mean, looking at it, it doesn't have the base damage, it doesn't have the crit. Does it have the firepower? Yeah, but it's not really what you're looking for. It's not enough of anything. These, they got the crit. They got the crit multi. They do not have the base damage. If you can stand next to a Chroma, these are stellar. But the fire rate on these things, 20. And they have built-in multi-shot. So you will always fire at least 2 shots. Yes. These things are insane fire-wise. They also just blow through your, like, 1,400 rounds of bullets in no time at all. These are probably the most new player friendly one if you can't get the Rattleguts parts. Or if you can't get Piranha Prime. They are a little higher up there as far as MR. But ultimately what you're looking for is something full auto that once the Hemocyte becomes vulnerable, you can dump almost the whole mag and get most of the way through a reload while it's invulnerable, while the head is invulnerable. After that, melee, do what you want here. There is a Redeemer and a Sarpa build. That's gonna be for advanced players. Do what you want here. There you go. As far as frames, what is good for Plaguestar? Loki is the best, because he brings a couple of things. One, he's fast. He is stellar for the first part. He has Switch Teleport. Let's show that off. So Switch Teleport, his 3. I've only got Streamline on. This isn't a ton of efficiency, and it only cost me 17 energy. That's really good. And wait, what is that? 187 range? I can teleport for frickin' days. That means you need to be like 200 meters away from the drone to not teleport. Oh, what's that? You didn't know you can teleport that little stupid drone? Yeah, you can switch teleport it and switch places with it. If you run towards the boil and the drone is just kind of puttering along, you can give it a close to a 200 meter boost along its route. That makes this fast. That makes this real fast. And since most of the damage to the Hematite is going to come from your guns and not your abilities, well, alright. That's perfect. For 2, invisibility. Who cares about the Horde when they can't see you? Ah, yeah, exactly. I do have Vitality on, just because you should, or at least I should. That way I've got some durability. Decoy. Another neat thing about Decoy, you can switch teleport to it. So you can drop it, and then switch teleport to it. At a range of 187 meters? Yeah. Oh yeah. So you can do the drone phase in under a minute. With a good Loki. If everything goes right, sometimes you just get garbage routes with trees in the way and you can't get those big switches. And sometimes people do crappy teleports, like if you have 2 Lokis and you're fighting each other, or if there's a Loki and a Nova, and the Nova teleports the drone somewhere weird. Yeah, not good. His 4, completely ignore it, and so you can also completely ignore strength. I'm running Corrosive Projection because the Hematite does have armor. If you go with full armor strip, Radiation is better. If the Hematite has any armor at all, Corrosive is a lot better. So that's Loki. And keep in mind, I've taken the range to 250 with Stretch, Overextended, and Cunning Drift. You can swap out Augur Reach, go for something different in here, and your Switch Teleport will go down accordingly. But its base is 75 meters, guys. Its base. 75 meters. Loki is freaking awesome for this. And that's why I've got him. So, other frames that you'll want to know of. You will want to know about Chroma. Chroma's buff is amazing here. Because think, he can share his buff. He just stands next to you, and suddenly your twin Grakatas, sure they only have 15 base damage, he quadruples it, and suddenly you're dealing some solid damage. Some incredibly solid damage. Chroma is highly recommended. You don't need the Prime, the normal one will be just fine. Gera, good choice. She doesn't care about the Horde. She doesn't bring a ton to the actual fight itself with the Hematite, but she does bring the damage and the protection to do everything else throughout. Grendel, he's fast. Great. Yeah, that's all he does. Forget. Sorry. I have seen some Korras for the CC. They just drop their 4 and then go for the Hematite, ignoring all of the mob until they need to kill it. Again, CC, while it's needed at stage 4, there's also 4 people if you're playing in Pug. Who cares about CC? Mirage, extremely good here, and you can choose day or night. You can choose to have her damage buff be up permanently. You don't have to do the goofy self-damage build. Mesa only works against the mob, not against the Hemocyte. But she's very good there. Nova. Nova is freaking amazing here. Her force slows the Hemocyte, and I don't expect you to have Prime. We're still in the new player zone, guys. I do not expect you to have the Prime. But the normal one you can absolutely get. She's not too terribly difficult. Her 4 will slow the Hemocyte. That's pretty nice. It can also speed up things if you have those mods, but that's something entirely different. Rhino, his damage buff is very nice. Saren, pass. Trinity, pass. Most of these are passes. Volt. Yeah. Don't look at my normal Volt. So this is a discharge build. We're actually gonna go to an Eidolon build, and you might go, what? Why are we looking at an Eidolon build? Arcanes, swap these out for Guardian and Energize if you have them. Otherwise, just ignore them. Stick whatever max ones you got in there and enjoy. For this, you do not need adaptation. I would absolutely put Vitality on, and I would put all the duration you possibly can on. I have casting speed and some movement speed, which is fine, but all the duration you can. I would also swap this for Streamline, because all you're going for with Volt, you're going for his shields, and you would want the Augment. You want the Augment of Transistor Shield, which is allies can pick it up. Yes. Think about it for a moment. It doubles your crit damage and adds some electricity, which builds into corrosive. Oh yeah. Oh yes. This is the augment you want on the good frame. Now you can change this build up however you like. Handspring is nice. A lot of these things are just nice. You don't need to go into the 4 forma. This is the normal build for me. I don't do Eidolon hunts with Volt very much. But I would take a little bit of efficiency, so you can always cast. Just makes your life easier. All the duration you can. And survivability, because that's what Volt is there for. If you want to build a little range, it's alright, but discharge, even on the discharge build, the link radius doesn't quite get you where you want to be. Not for Plaguestar. Remember, we're on the plains. Enemies are at least 50 meters apart. They're not next to each other. That's why I would just take an Eidolon build. It's perfectly fine. Do what you want there. Wukong. Extremely fast. Faster than Loki. Wukong, and he has a dojo frame. You can do a one forma build and be just fine with him. Yeah, my Wukong's fugly. Just don't look at him. This, completely a normal build. If you don't have these, swap them out for the normal ones. And save yourself the forma. I've got some duration. I've got some strength. Who cares about range? But really, Cloudwalker. Think of how fast you move while in Cloudwalker. The first stage is entirely movement. Yeah, You can do the first stage in seriously seconds, like under a minute. With Wukong. Celestial Twin, a beautiful distraction. Keeps the rest of the mob occupied when you're fighting the Hemocyte, and just adds damage. It's awesome. Primal Fury has the most range in the game. If you didn't know how to sweep up a mob, if you want to feel melee, the best of the ranged melee weapons for melee, before this 2.0 stuff, this is what you want. It's awesome. And your Celestial Joan gets it too. You can just clear the whole field and keep enemies off of you. He's got a nice passive that keeps you up and running. And his 3, you should never need it here. I mean, it's there if you want it. So, yeah. I would highly recommend that. Wisp. Cannot forget Wisp. Remember, we're going for fire rate. Wisp gives you a fire rate buff. Think about that. Again, build for strength. You don't need to go this high. You do not need to go this high. Don't get too excited. I would go for duration and a little bit of range just to make things easy on you. Build some tankiness, maybe some efficiency. You don't need these maxed out mods. You can go for something like normal intensify and normal vitality, and that saves you at least 2 forma, especially if you only use the normal flow or a streamline instead. Blind Rage, you don't need that. Just stick Augur Secrets. It is a little bit hard to get. You could just use Augur Message, take the hit to strength. It's a buff. Enjoy it. And her CC is nice too, and her health is really nice too. Remember, this is the easy guide, not the advanced guide. Don't need to do anything crazy. I'm sticking with my Loki. And we'll come back to Harrow. Harrow is amazing, but I hate playing as him in this context. Again, you just take an Eidolon Hunter's build. But actually, he's not new player friendly enough. We're going to call it there because this has gone on way too long. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you all wreck the Hemocyte 1.5 million times. Have a good one, guys. Good luck out there. Earn that forma.